What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we have another regionals recap. This time we have Noel talking about his top four deck, which was Seismitoad, Crobat, Golbat at Philadelphia Regionals this past weekend. You know, Seismitoad with the Quake Punch 30, your opponent can't play the item cards. Golbat and Crobat with that spooky, sneaky bite and that spooky bite, surprise bite. Sorry, I don't know why it says spooky. I guess because it is spooky. He played lasers, but no Verbank. He talks about the Sound Lab a lot. He talks about guesses a lot. He talks about Grenade Hammer a lot. It's a really good video. But guys, hope you enjoyed this interview. Thanks for watching, and let's see it right now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Team Fish Knuckles YouTube channel. Today we're doing another regionals recap. And what's your name, sir?
Noel Totomoch.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. My camera froze. So just like a Sam's interview, this is going to happen a lot, and I don't know what's wrong with it right now. So you're going to see me make some dumb faces and not be able to fix it.
But don't worry, guys. Throughout the process of this video, I'm sure you'll get some good kicks out of it.
All right, and we're going to be talking about the Philadelphia regionals that happened last weekend, and there we go again. Oh, that's a beautiful picture right there. All right, so we saw your Toadbats deck a second ago. Now, why'd you decide to play this deck?
So, funny story. 30 minutes prior to the event, my friend Gansman comes up to me, and I'm like, "Yo, what up, Gansy?" And he's like, "Yo, what up, Noel?" And he's like, "Dude, what are you playing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm playing Totina." I'm like, "I think it's the play. We've been testing it for a couple of months, you know. We tried keeping it low key. It's not a low key deck, but whatever." He picks up my deck box, goes through it. He's like, "Yeah, you're not playing this." I'm like, "I'm not?" He's like, "Yeah, you're not." I'm like, "Okay, it looks like I'm not playing this." And he's like, "Dude, just 60 with me." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do 60. Why not?" Plot twist, I don't have any of the cards. And
we got the Toads.
Yeah, I had the Toads, you know, full RD and stuff. I was like, "Yeah, let's get it." And he's like, "Dude, don't worry. I got you right now." And, you know, he went out his way, and he's cool with this dude. I'm so sorry I don't know his name. But shout outs to him, you know, MVP right there. Powerful man. He just took out like boxes and boxes and boxes, and I'm like, "All right, you got it." And it was just like every card you could imagine. And it was like 10 tool scrapers and like 10 super scoop ups. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of need some of those too. So we're walking back, and we're like, "Dude, how's the Mega Manectric matchup?" And he's like, "Oh, it's awful, but you know, just avoid it." I look at him like, "Sure,
Yeah.
let's do that."
All right, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the end of the story.
All right, man. So what happened in Swiss? Like, do you have good matchups? Would you play against stuff like that?
So round one, I play against Mark Levy, and he flips over Manectric. I was like, "All right, this is fine. We can live." And he benches a Seismitoad, and I'm like, "Oh, what is he doing?" And then he sycamores, right? And then he drops down a Zubat, and I was like, "Oh, mirror match, let's get it."
Yeah.
And I have like zero to no experience with the mirror match. Like, I was like, whatever.
We'll get there.
He's playing Verbanks, I'm playing Silent Labs, so we should be fine, you know? And, you know, the mirror is really weird because you depend on like the super scoop up aspect. Doesn't really go that way because, you know, you're both item locking, and it just gets really, really annoying and frustrating. But I managed to just Quake and Punch harder, and, you know, that pretty much won me it. I think in one of the situations, he had to Assault Laser me. Well, he had to attack with Manectric because he whiffed the double colorless to Quaking Punch.
Yeah.
I was like, we take that. You know, like, this is fine. So he attaches the double colorless, and, he attaches Lightning, and he's like, Overrun. I'm like, overrun. Whatever. And my Manectric is bleeding, you know. My Toad is bleeding, like he's weak. So I'm like, super scoop up. And I pick him up, and you know, that was useless of you. And it's Manectric, so I'm not gonna attach the tool because then he does more.
Yeah.
So I plop down the lab, laser him, and I just punch. And then he's like, bruh, stuck. And I just keep quaking punching, you know how the deck goes.
Yeah, it's like just quake a punch do you win.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
like game two, he besses me. So I'm like, okay, you're cool. And game three, I'm like, I don't want to play Pokemon anymore. Gets this, draw some cards, silent lab. I'm like, okay.
Seems
And
easy.
yeah, and I
Yeah.
just punch a little harder, and then I say grenade hammer.
Oh,
But
so
yeah,
dirty.
that was round one, game one, and I'm feeling okay. Beginning of the tournament, you can't really ask for much, but beating the first game, because then you feel a little bit better. You're pumped up. The rounds go up on the phone, and I see Andrew Mahone, and I'm like, okay, let's see what he's playing. He can either be playing like some Night March,
Yeah.
or he wants to be spicy, throw in some Lando bats. We take those too.
The only two decks he's played ever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, yeah, let's go sit down, right? So my friend Ryan's sitting on the other side of me, and we're all there, and he flips over like I think a Punkaboo, and I'm like, all right, might be a Landorus Punkaboo, who knows?
What a Lander's Pumpkaboo.
And I'm just like, all right, it's Night March, and he's digging for that Maxis, and within digging, he reveals that he's playing the Marowak,
Oh.
and I was like, ooh, this could be really bad.
Yeah, that makes it tough.
Yeah, because then I'm not playing by my rules. I'm playing by his rules. So, he couldn't do it. And he's like, Sycamore, right? Cool, dude. So I take his discard pile. And, like, I don't know if this is like a habit with some people where you like move the night marchers to the bottom just to count them up.
Yeah.
And I think it was kind of disrespectful of me to do that, you know. But I do it so much with like Peter and like other of my friends. And I put it back and I'm keeping count like that. And I beat him game one, right? And at the beginning of game two, he's like, "Hey, dude, if you could just like not do that." I was like, "Okay, fine, all right, this is fine." The game two, there's like a little bit more tension,
Yeah.
and he makes Marowak, and I'm like, "Ah, this is annoying," because I go Quaking Punch, and it doesn't feel as strong. He's like, "Whatever, compressor, yada 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 yada, Night March."
Can do everything. Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, you must feel powerful, dude." And I'm digging, and I get to do my first search, and I'm like, yo, there's no fighting Fury belts.
I lose.
And he just like pushes through me. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna go to game three. And like game three, I was a little mad, right?
Yeah.
I don't expect this match to go to game three. So I get mad and I'm like, you know what? Gets this. Boom. Live. Let's get it. And that the combination is it's a little too strong for the game.
It's the worst.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
things like that shouldn't happen, but they do. So we take him, and he was a really cool dude. We both agreed that Galate is that boy. Maybe I'm a little biased, but Galate is super cool.
But not Marowak. He's not cool.
Yeah, screw that dude. He's all like wearing his mom's like freaking skull and stuff. That's creepy. Let's not do that. This is Pokemon. So round three, I play against this dude, Chris Wilkinson, and he seems to be from the area, right? Because he's wearing like this Kerwin sweater. So I'm like, okay, you're Kerwin's kid. I played against a couple of you guys. Really cool dude. He's playing Dark Tina. Never played against this. I know that like it's a good deck. Its transition into expanded was, something that we could have seen. So I expect this to be like a really bad matchup. He kind of goes off, doing Dark Tina stuff, but now they have Dark Patch, so it's kind of cool. Game one, since I'm new to this matchup, I just do like Toad things, Quaking Punch here and there. And what really swung the matchup was me playing the lab. The lab just like completely shuts them out of like options.
Yeah.
They get stuck active. Their Keldeo doesn't work anymore. Um, the way he was playing the deck, there was in the beginning of the game where he parallel cities himself, but there was no Darkrai of the Dark Cloak,
Mm.
so he had no like he couldn't really move around like free will as the deck would want to. So he kind of got stuck active for a couple turns, and I kind of got to capitalize on those turns. And I had the option to delinquent him, but instead I opted to keep the stadium and let him get stuck there because at that point he can't really use setup, can't really dark cloak out of the active, and I just computer searched for like enhanced hammer, and I popped the double dragon off Giratina, and I go into Seismitoad and I'm like punch, and he's like pass, and I'm like yeah punch whatever, and you can tell the nerves were getting to him when his hands were like you can tell his hands were cold after that first game. I had this like weird thing where I do like a handshake after every game, and like he's shuffling and like the cards fly everywhere, and I'm like, yeesh. And the game two kind of goes the same, But in this game, I kind of get to capitalize on the labs. The labs were too good,
Yeah.
and let's see. After that, I play against my friend Osman. I call him the Wizard of Oz. Pretty cool dude. He's playing Night March, but he's playing like New York Night March. So that can only be like really ignorant Night March. More ignorant than what everyone makes it seem. Like I think New York Night March is ignorant as it
What makes
gets.
it ignorant?
The Peter makes it. So Peter making a Night March list,
Yeah.
it's like right here. Well, everyone's is like right here. So I go second, or yeah, I go first actually, and I open Getsis with Lab, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna ruin your day. Ultra Ball, Jirachi, Stellar Guidance, and I get the Getsis, and I'm like, I'm gonna put it to my hand, by the way, and then I'm like, Getsis, and I put the Lab down, and he's like, gah. And then game two, he opens his hand and he's like, of course, puzzle of time, rearranges, pass. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yada, 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 bat. DC, Quaking Punch. And he kind of got some momentum going, but it really isn't the favorable matchup.
Yeah, for
Like
sure.
they rely on these weak HP, and it gets really bad after a while. So after I beat him in 6 minutes, um, we got like a 20-minute lunch break. But for me, it was an hour. And this is where like a lot of people were like, "Oh, you said there was gonna be no lunch break, but now there's a lunch break." So there was a lot of complaints for that, especially when they did the pairings all got dropped. Like the event was running okay, but it wasn't like Florida where it was like so perfect. So like a lot of people like didn't really like that aspect. And then there was like a lot of like the judges and like the people kept saying what time was left. So that creates like, oh, I got 10 more minutes. Let me do my plays a little slower.
Let me use all 10 minutes in one turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I just cheated legally. This is fine.
Yeah.
So I'm hanging out with my friend Ryan Sinnott, and I'm like, yeah, we're feeling powerful. We're X and O, and he does this little joke, and he's like, dude, I gotta play against you. And I was like, nah, don't say stuff like that.
Don't curse us.
And he like disappears for like a good 10 minutes, comes back, and he's like, dude, we're playing. And I'm like, good one. I appreciate these jokes. And I'm super lazy. Like I'll be at the regionals and I have a phone, but I won't use it to check the pairings. So he's like, no, I'm being serious. Shows me his phone, and I'm like, oh, we really are playing. And we worked on Totina for a really long time. Like this matchup is like really, really shaky, especially the way we built it, because we played a land shaman in the deck,
Huh.
and what that creates is like it nullifies the bat placements. So like the the Crobat placement goes away. The Crobat placement lingers at 10. So it makes the matchup really annoying, right?
Yeah.
He wins the coin flip, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get Getsis. There's no way that he's not gonna Getsis me.
Yeah.
So he starts Hoopa, and I'm like, ah. And he goes Ultra Ball, Getsis, and I'm like, this is fine. You just left me at 2 cards. No Shaman, no nothing. And I'm like, oh, we're not gonna be able to win this. And I have like I think like a Toad or a Lugia active stuck. And I'm like, this is annoying. So I'm in top deck mode. But he's playing the lab, but he didn't get to do that combo, right? So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't get a taste of my own medicine. So I'm in top deck mode, couple turns pass, but he attaches a double colorless to Giratina instead of a Seismitoad. And that kind of swung the matchup because he couldn't get into Quaking Punch as fast. So we're Quaking Punching, Zero Sicking, and I beat him. Like the bat placement, the lab, I stopped the Keldeo and all that. Then game two, he just like smashes me. Like I lose, and I'm like, okay. Then game three, I'm like, we got fire. Gets his lab. What up?
I win.
I win,
Yeah.
but like he just prolonged it, and I'm like, he like benches down the shaman, and I'm like, he's gonna die sooner or later.
Yeah.
And I'm putting damage counters on it, doing all like the sneaky stuff and surprise stuff.
Surprisingly. Yeah.
And he Cassius away his Mewtwo, and I'm like, this is annoying. And then he punches a Jirachi to prolong the game. I'm like, but I get into Grenade Hammer and Punch and stuff, and I'm like, we did it. And it's something I didn't want to do. Like, I really wish we could tie, but it's so early on in the tournament.
Yeah.
You can't really do that. So then, round 6, I play against my good friend Jamie the famous, however you pronounce it. Sorry, Jamie. Love you. We call him Big Timmy. And he's playing Dark Tina. And I'm like, oh, I just played against this. So I figured they were all playing the same list until he hits me with the center lady. And I'm like, what? Who plays that? I Quaking Punch for like 50, and he's like center lady. I'm like, this is annoying.
Yeah.
But I flip all 4 heads on all my super scoop ups. So it's like, whoops.
I did it.
I did it.
Yeah.
And he scoops mid game on both, and he's like, you got it. So I 2-0 him. And like, I can't stress enough how strong the lab is. Like, yeah, it cuts your shaman off, but like, you really don't need them after you used setup once.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling great. 6-0. What more can you really ask for? I have to win my next round, and I'm automatically in. And I play against Mike Fouché, and he's playing Excelgor.
Time to cry.
And I was like, ooh, I didn't want to see this.
Yeah.
But there was like a really long pause here with the judging and the staff, and we're just sitting there for like 10 minutes, and I'm just like, wow, this is ridiculous. Some people were playing, we weren't playing. The time was extended, kinda ish, and like it was a really drawn out game. Like he was the nicest person I played against the entire tournament. Shout outs to Mike. Um, the game we played lasted like a good 40 minutes, I want to say.
Jeez.
Yeah, and this is because I wanted it to be like that. I figured I needed to tie against this matchup. Like it's the worst matchup I can see this entire tournament. So I think I still have a chance. Like I got him down to like I end him to like 1 or 2, and I kill his Musharna, so his momentum's gone, right? And it's like really weird where it's like Waba FedEx Selgor. I don't get to knock it out because I'm hitting with Crobat at this point.
Hmm.
But he broke out of that, and I pretty much lost. And I was like, okay, I'm fine. We go to game two, and game two was a little drawn out, which is perfectly fine. But I'm picking up the momentum, like I gets him, and you know, fast forward a little bit, and we're in time, right? Because of how long the game one was.
Yeah.
Uh, he my turn one, I knock out a, I think a Mew or something, and it puts me at 2 prizes, right? So he's turn two, and we're talking it out. He's like, okay, I'm gonna have to do X amount of things, and he has a Shaman active, Shaman on the bench, and he has a Shelmet, right? Typical like Excel core stuff.
Yeah.
He AZs his bench Shaman and Sky returns his active Shaman, right? So I have to take 2 prizes, and it's not out of the realm of like, Toad Bats doing it, but it's really frustrating when you're on turn three and you have to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So draw, and I'm turn three, and I'm really frustrated because I have to hit super scoop up. Like this tie depends on a super scoop up. It's disgusting. I super rod in some bats, and I do the 20 on the back, and then Ultra Ball for Crobat, put 30 on the back, and then he's at 50, right? And I attach water, and I laser, and I try to kill as many cards in my hand. And the active Pokemon's a Lugia. So Lugia's already knocking out regardless, right?
Yeah.
And I end myself to 2. And, we're all shuffling up. There's like a huge crowd behind us because we're like the only people still playing. And, like everyone's like, oh shit, what's going to happen? Yada, yada, yada. Shuffle up, shuffle up. Here, break, cut the deck. And I cut his deck. And I draw my first card to keep the tension. I'm really scared. My hands are cold. This is the first time in the entire tournament where my hands got cold. And I draw the last card, and it's a super scoop up. And the crowd is all like, oh, oh. And I go, super scoop up. I pick up the dice, and I roll. And it falls off the table. And I'm like, ah. And I roll again, and it falls off the table on my side. And the judge is like, roll properly. And I'm like, yeah, sure. Why don't you roll for me? I'm thinking,
Yeah.
And I roll again, and it's the heads. And I'm like, yes. And I'm like, 20 on the back. A deep hurricane on the front. And I'm like, we tied. And it's funny because, like you wouldn't expect people to like want to tie, but this is a scenario where you would love to tie. And at this point, I'm 601.
Yeah.
And I go up against my friend Crespo, and he's playing Trevenant, but he got paired up and I got paired down. And I'm like, whoa, this sucks. Would you like to tie? And he's like, nah, I need the points. I'm like, yeah, you kind of do,
Yeah, true.
which is fine, you know. But I'm like, this is such a bad matchup. I don't really want it, and I don't really want to face it. And he beats me in game one because he, wildly Trevin it. And then game two, I squeeze out a win. And he's like, yeah, we're gonna go to game three. And then he just does Trevenant things, and I lose. I'm like, okay, this is fine. Like, I couldn't really expect that matchup to go any other way. Like it's such a terrible match.
Yeah.
And then my friend Jed comes up to me and he's like, dude, we're the same record. We might have to play against each other. I was like, shut up. Don't say stuff like that. Like this is bad.
You already had to play against one friend.
Yeah, well, multiple friends, like
Yeah,
it
true.
sucks. And then the pairings are up, and he's like, "Dude, we have to play against each other." And I was like, "Yeah, it's funny." He's like, "No, seriously." And I'm like, I look at his phone, and I'm like, so I go sit down, and I'm like, okay, it's the mirror match. It's not the mirror match. It's the Totina build we played. We made, and he we don't even make. I don't remember exactly what happens, but I know I like Quaking Punch really hard. And like he wasted so many resources to try to knock out this one Lugia that I got stuck active with, and I just AZ it up when it's like right about to die, and
Yeah.
I go DC Quaking Punch, and he's like, so I beat him game one, and then game two, typical like punching stuff, flare grunts here and there, 06. It gets really annoying because you
Mhm.
need to have like you can't really waste it. It's weird for Toadbats. You can't really waste resources because the resources is what brings you back in the game after the item block stops. But I got a prize off a Toad. My Toad just punched it harder, and he has a Giratina swinging, and I put the Giratina at 140 coming back to me, and I Ultra Ball, get the Crobat, and I place 30, and I take my two prizes, and I'm like, you have to promote something now. So he's looking at his entire bench, and he promotes Shaman. I look at him, and I'm like, water energy, grenade hammer. He's like, what? Two grenade hammers? But yeah, the day ended really good. I was a 7-1-1. And like I could have gone straight to the hotel, but I wanted to see the standings. Just like everything felt so surreal, and I was just like, I need to see the standings.
Make sure I'm on there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know how to feel about the fact that the judges didn't collect the decks. Like it could create like really like bad intentions for some players out there to like cheat. It's not cool. But
Mhm.
it was really late. It was like 11:50, I want to say 12ish hitting there.
Dang.
Yeah, and I was just like, you know what? We did it. Everyone's like, congratulations, Noel. I'm like, thanks. I really appreciate it. Couldn't have done it without you guys, like, supporting me all the time. And day two, I wake up and I overstay my me chilling in the hotel after I wake up. And I'm like, oh, I gotta run. And I'm running. And I message Crossbow and I'm like, yo, dude, is it about to start? And he doesn't. And he leaves me on scene. And I'm like, nah, how you gonna leave me on scene? I'm trying to get there. And I get to the convention center and he's like, we haven't even started. And I'm like, don't leave me on scene when we're playing for 5,000.
Let me know what's going on, man.
Yeah, I'm a little like mad, but like. we don't even start right then and there. I'm like, wow, this is disgusting. It took us like a good like 10, 20 minutes, I want to say, to start.
I ran for no reason.
Yeah, I ran and I was like exhausted. Because it wasn't a cool run, man. It's cold. So then day two, the pairings go up and it's round one, and I'm like, okay, what are we gonna play round one? The dude flips over like night marches. I'm like,
We
yes,
take it.
night march. And he does his night march things, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that's cool. And I go quick and punch with a couple bats, and then game two, the same thing goes on. It's not a really, it wasn't really eventful. Like the night march matchup is really weird. Like, if you're playing night march against Toad Bats, you can expect Toad Bats to almost win that matchup.
Mhm.
Like, like 95% of the time, unless they're playing the Marowak.
The things get sketchy.
Yeah, that Marowak is too strong. I'm like, why are you playing Marowak? And there's a cool ruling that Mahone told me. It's like, you can bring up the Marowak, knock it out, and the item lock still isn't present. Slash Giratina isn't present. And I'm like, ooh, that's actually interesting.
Yeah.
I guess the way that the events work out, the item lock and the stadium slash special energy tool lock isn't effective. So I beat Night March. He was playing a really like linear list with Parallel City, which was cool. Kind of messed up some numbers, but it's fine. And then game round two, I play against like Dark, and this dude starts lone hooper, and I don't have Getsus in my hand because I win. I mean, I win the coin flip, right?
Yeah.
But I don't have Getsus and like the super cool plays. So I just like get some bats out and I silent lab and I'm like pass. And he looks at his hand and he's like, "This hand is garbage. I'm just gonna scoop."
What?
Yeah, it was like four dark and like head ringers and stuff. And what's really cool about this match, like with that one game, is that he opted not to play the head ringer and just scoop, which I thought was really cool because in doing that, you don't give away like information
Yeah.
about what you're playing. So I could have been like, oh, he's probably playing like Manectric now or something, because it's a Hoopa start. And a head ringer, that kind of gives away some things. But it turns out he was playing Dark with like Malamar.
Huh.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, yo, that Malamar can just beat me up. Like, attach Dark, you're asleep. I'm like, yeah, I am.
Flip tails. Oh, guess I'm not quick at
Oh,
punching.
man. And I'm so glad it didn't get to that point, but I was dead drawing game two. And then, game three, I'm like, guess what I have? Gets this?
The wombo combo.
Yeah, that combo is too strong,
Yeah.
It's not even something. Yo, this combo is disgusting. I think Guts is or like one of the two should just get hit, but whatever. We play it, we take those. And he does everything in his power to stay in the game, which is cool. He's like oblivion winging, and I'm like, ugh, whatever. I'm taking one prize for this, and I think I end off the game with grenade hammer. Just to say like, hey, let me go talk with my friends now.
I want to go now. I'm tired of playing.
Yeah, I'm tired of playing Pokemon. I thought the Guts' lab was more than enough. And round three, I play against Sam Chen, and he's a really cool dude. But the deck he was playing wasn't. Man, this matchup is such a headache because you can get to abuse their rough seas, but the numbers that Raikou puts you in kind of makes that shaky, and then the whole Dynamotor situation.
Yeah.
It really wasn't something I was appreciating. I kept bumping his silent labs, And sometimes it felt like it was not the right thing to do, but I needed to Quaking Punch really hard. And when you're Quaking Punching for 20 with poison, it pretty much says you did nothing for that turn because they go rough seas and clear off the entire board.
Yeah.
I can't even get reckless with my Zubat placements unless it knocks out something, you know? Like, that's really frustrating. Because in other matchups, you can just be like, okay, I'll put damage here, put damage there, we live on. And then when it goes up, it gets punched in the face. You can't really do that in this matchup because you do that recklessly, they seize everything away, and you're just like, that was a waste of my life. So I was, like, I dragged out game as much as I could
Hmm.
to like tie it, kinda, and if not tying it, getting the win. And he beats me game one, and I'm like, okay. Then game two, I kind of squeeze out the win. Like he had like lone, like I think like Raikou or something, or like he was punching me with Toad, but I was like, that's cute, and I discard his energies and stuff. But the matchup is really annoying. Even when you think you bested the matchup, you remember that the thing that's hitting you in the face is a one prizer. That's
Yeah.
really annoying. Like I couldn't stress that. Like that was the most stressful matchup I've ever played against throughout the entire tournament. Like you thought Excelsior was bad. Nah, this dude doesn't even die.
It takes like no damage kind of thing going on.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, man, screw this deck. And like he beats me game three convincingly, and I'm a little frustrated. But it's Pokemon. What can you really do?
Yeah, man.
And the next round comes up, and it's against one of the people around our area. I think CT or somewhere up there. And he's playing Dark Tina, Chris Aikala. He's a really cool dude, and I kind of know how this matchup goes at this point. Like after facing it a couple times, you kind of know what to do.
Yeah.
Emphasize with the lab, but I didn't draw like a single freaking lab game one. I was like, where's my labs?
They're all
I look
prized.
at my deck and it's like three of them in there. I'm like, what? I can't even Sycamore. I can't even Juniper. I lose. But like, I did a huge misplay where I Quaking punched with a city, and the -20 was like really brutal. I needed that to knock out like something that was active to stay in the game. And then like, I got really confident with like this Lugia play, and I announced Deep Hurricane. I don't have the requirements to do it. And I'm like, this is how I lose.
Yeah.
And I get so mad and I'm like, oh, this sucks. Because I had the knockout and I had to announce Arrow Ball. And I'm like, what a weak attack.
It's not even 20 plus 20. It's just 20 times the energies.
Yeah, and I'm like, it could have been a better Mewtwo. I should have just played Mewtwo, is what I was thinking. But like, my boy Lugia pulled through. Game two was pretty uneventful. I think it was like gets his lab and then punch away, and then game three it got down to the wire. This one was annoying too, but we go to time and on turn three or turn two or something reckless like that, where I'm put in the situation where I have to win it, and because he's OEXs, I'm at two prizes, and he promotes Darkrai because it's the highest HP. And my biggest fear was he was gonna put a Fighting Fury belt. No way I went after that. Doesn't do that. I'm like, and I look and I draw and I'm like, okay, Super Rod throwing the energy and a Crobat, I think, right? So a couple bats in there,
Yeah.
and I go Ultra Ball, and I'm like, okay. Once I take out this card, I have 9 cards in my deck, and I was gonna go for the ignorant like Juniper play, and then I'm thinking to myself, and he's like, "Dude, if you have it, just do it." And I'm like, "Wait, hold up! I might lose if I don't do it correctly."
Gotta make sure we think everything out.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, this is fine." I get the Crobat out, and I go 30 on the active, right?
Mhm.
And then I verse a Seeker for a clean hand because I had nothing in my hand after this. And I do chorus for like 9, right? I deck myself out purposely. And I'm like, yes, energy, deep hurricane 150. We're in top 8.
I did it, Ma.
And I'm like, because like what if my last two energy, what if my DCE and my water were the eighth and ninth card,
Uh-huh.
that would really suck. And at this point, it's like whatever. The next person I go with IID, we're feeling powerful, and he wins. Chris, congratulations to him. He beats the next matchup, and he squeezes into top 8. And they're like, "Yeah, pairings are up." And I go up, and I'm like, "Yeah, we're automatic top 4," because I have to rematch him. Yeah, and I know how this match goes already. Playing it now 3 times, it's like you should know what you're doing at this point. I start Jirachi game 1.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, it's the first time this happened this entire tournament.
Yeah.
I draw my turn and I'm like, Zubat, pass. And he's like, whatever, shut up, Dark Pulse. And
Shut
I'm
up,
like,
whatever, knockout.
and I'm like, this is annoying. And the judges, this got me so mad. One of the judges was asleep. I was like, because there was this one point where we weren't keeping. I messed up and didn't keep track of like a Sky Return with poison, and we were like, it wasn't a big deal, but it kind of matters when the bat placement kills something.
Yeah.
And I look to my right and the judge is asleep, and I'm like, dude, why would you do this to me?
He had a long day, man.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him, but we're playing for 5,000 at this point. This kind of sucks. And I'm just like, whatever. It's this number. It should have been this other number, but I can't really get greedy now, can I? So I punch him to death game 2, and game 3, I'm just like, yeah, I'm gonna win because he didn't really do anything, and I got to do everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like, quaking punch, quaking punch, quaking punch, and it almost sounds like that's the only thing I can do. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, grenade hammer. And the tournament was really fun. Aside from just saying quaking punch the entire time. And I go back with my friends, and they're like, dude, you might have to play Crespo. And I'm like, yeah, I might have to. This sucks.
Yeah.
And I go up to him, and I'm like, dude, I know how to win. And he's like, what? I just got to get to slab you, dude. I got to win the coin flip to win the entire match. And we're playing for 2,500. And I'm like, okay, this is exactly how I have to win. And the spellground mats, how they're all fuzzy and stuff.
Yeah.
And like all the Yu-Gi-Oh players out here do it. I call them Yu-Gi players if they have that mat. You're getting called a Yu-Gi player if you have the mat. I'm sorry. They have this. The material is like super fuzzy, and it pisses me off because they'll look at the dice, they'll do the whole like, yeah, I'm about to roll it, and then just like throw it and it doesn't roll, and I'm like, that's not a roll. So I tell him flat out, I'm like, you have a fuzzy mat. You're rolling that dice, not mats on the table. And he's like, all right, cool. He does that, And I'm like, yes, heads. Or, oh no, tails. I always call tails for some reason. And I'm like, yes, I get to go first. And I look at my hand, and I'm like, Ultra Ball, Stellar Guidance. Boom, blow up your whole hand, bro. And I'm feeling so powerful. And I Quakey Punch, Grenade Hammer. And then we go to game two. And he goes at his hand, and he's like, Wally. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna Wally. And I'm just like, turn one item lock sucks. I'm like, why do you get so much privilege to do
I
that?
mean, turn one gets his silent lab sucks too.
Yeah, that's pretty vicious. You know, the game threes with that, like, if I did that to you, is because I just got really mad and I'm like, I'm gonna win. Sorry. I had to do it.
Yeah.
Like, especially that Night March versus Mahone. My friend Ryan messages me about it still. Because he was there to witness this, and he's like, "Could you not do that with my Night Marchers?" I was like, "Sorry, dude. I know it wasn't considerate of me, but game three, I'm gonna get this lab you." Cool, dude. But yeah, and then game three, uh, we mulligan, me and Crespo, and I'm like, "No, don't get shuffled back in." I had like Ultra Ball and computer search and lab. I'm like, there's so many things I could have done. And I get so aggravated because my hand was complete doo doo. I got like Zubat and Lab and like N, and I'm like, if I play N, I got him out of a good or a bad situation.
Yeah.
And he had Shaman active, and I'm like, this is not the end of the world. We can still squeeze this game out. And this top four match was so annoying. Like, we were done so fast. It was crazy because it was like super fast plays. Like, there's nothing really you can really do. You know, we're
Yeah.
both locked. It's either you punch or you pass, you know?
Hmm.
And I end us to six, and I have a lone Zubat with a Fighting Fury belt.
The
I'm
Zubat
not
versus the
willing.
world.
Yeah, this is my boy Zubat about to take on the entire world, you know? Like, he might not be able to free flight with that lab out, but he has a Fighting Fury belt. So he's gonna survive a tree slam if he like elixirs, you know, elixir attach, Wally, some ruthless,
Elixir, elixir.
you know, if he does some ruthless play like that, I'm like, oh, I lose. And like, you know, it aggravates me seeing a Trevenant with a rescue scarf attached to it because I can imagine that.
You can't do anything about it.
Yeah, like, and I can imagine like a Trevenant with a scarf, you know, next to it. Like, what up, guys? I'm item locking you. I'm like,
He's hip.
yeah, he's a hipster. Hipster Trevenant. Funny story. Crespo was like sharing stuff like, you know, hipsters taking over New York, finding out about chopped cheese. That's kind of how that's why I put the whole chopped cheese New York boys hashtag. And I look at him and I'm like, congratulations, you won regionals. Because we were talking about like what happens if you plays against Sam or Fouché. But you know, the Excelgor versus Raikou matchup is really bad for Sam.
Yeah.
I don't know how in depth he went into that, but you know, Excelgor just should body that deck. Congrats, that's exactly what it did. And we were talking about like, oh, Crespo could just like N and then red card Fouché, and then he just can't do anything about it after he's an item lock.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that's how it went. But after I lost, I was like, congrats, dude, you won regionals. Like, he didn't even play his final out, and I'm already congratulating him, you know?
Yeah. Man, but all four of your top four matchups are all pretty bad though. I just realized that.
Oh, that's the only losses I throughout the entire throughout Swiss and day two. That's all I like tied or lost to, you know?
Yeah.
So like it was it was Toad with like a Superman cape type of thing. Like for once he wasn't the villain, you know?
I don't know. People might say he was still the villain.
Nah, he's a superhero this one time because you know my dude Toad was powerful. Like we even have a Japanese Toad here, just chilling. He's definitely a hero. I don't care what anyone says.
He's a hero.
Boom. That looks like the face of a hero. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
People think otherwise. I think they're biased. Trevenant's the real villain.
Yeah. Yeah. What about hipster Trevor? Is he the villain?
Yeah, he's that guy from like Austin Powers, dude. That bald dude. That's what Trevenant is. He's like a super evil villain.
Super. But man, I mean, you still made top four, which is fantastic. So congrats.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Like it feels so like after I top four, you know, Doug comes up. He's like, "Yeah, gotta go take your prizes." I'm like, "Yeah," and I'm doing all these like stupid poses with like going like that with the fist, quaking punching,
Yeah.
and like going like this with like the free Gino pose. And I realized how bad it was when he shows me and it looks like I'm dabbing. And I'm like, no, that's not what I wanted it to look like. And I'm like, KMS, kill myself.
Oh, now you're the hip one.
Yeah, I was like, no, I look like a hipster. Oh. But yeah, it was a fun run, you know. Like my friends all cheered me on. It was amazing, you know. Can't really like if it wasn't for Gansman making me switch like 30 minutes prior to the event, I don't think I would have gotten this far.
Yeah.
Or who knows, you know, like that list I made with Totina was really powerful. I mean,
But
Ryan
you,
was X and O.
yeah. But you beat it what twice, three
Yeah,
times, something like
might have not been that powerful as I thought.
that. Not as powerful as Eric's list.
Yeah, Eric's list is strong, you know, like I I picked up the deck right then and there, and the only testing I knew with it was me recommending my friend who's just started the game to play it. He's like, "Hey man, I want to win. What do I play?" I'm like, "You want to win? You got to play the villain." Well, he's a superhero at this point.
Okay. Okay.
You know, like my dude Venom. You never know what he is. He's a villain or he's a superhero. That's up to people to figure out themselves.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But you know, like me in testing with my friends, I was like, "You guys are probably gonna play against this, so I'll test it. I have no idea how to play this, by the way." So I just know you have to flip really good,
Yeah.
and you know, attach a double colorless,
And punch.
and
Yeah.
punch as hard as you can. Oh,
Well,
and gets his lab.
yeah. Gets his live punch, DC, and flip heads. All right, that's how you win.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's all you need to know.
I
It's
was like,
easy.
yeah, this is fine.
Don't even worry about the math. Like, who cares about the Crobat and Crobat math? You'll figure that out.
Sometimes the math just works out by itself. I'm like, oh, if I flip this coin, I win. Let's go for it.
Sounds good.
I won.
Yeah, I did it. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah, like, dude, there was like so many situations where I was so ahead, where I was like, I'm gonna flip a coin, and I flipped the coin, right, or like the dice, and like it was about to fall, and I push it back onto the table, and it was heads, right, and I go to my opponent, I'm like, I know it was heads, but it made it look like I was gonna keep it heads. Do you want me to roll? And he's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. I'm like, nah, I'm not a Yugi player. You know, bless it up. You know, you look like you're in a pinch. I'll re-roll for you. He's like, all right, if you insist. I was like, yeah, I'm insisting. Flip. Doesn't matter, game.
I still did it.
I still did it.
Yeah.
Like the deck is super cheese.
Oh my goodness. I,
Yeah,
but would you make any like changes to your list after playing like all those rounds, or you think it's pretty good?
I think the list is, the way it is, it's fine. There was huge like when I suggested the deck to my friend, I really didn't like the fourth Golbat, and I didn't realize how clutch the fourth Golbat is. Like I told him, I'm like, yeah, yeah, whatever, just take out the Golbat and put in Level Ball because Level Ball says I got you Getsis, I got you with Golbat, Zubat. It does all these cool things,
Yeah.
and it worked for my friend. He just started. He got a sixth out of league challenge. Congrats to him. Yeah, I know it doesn't sound super stellar, but like when the league challenges go from like 20 to 10 to like 50, 40, and it's his first tournament, you did good. And then he decked out Tristan Machek
Oh
playing Trevenant.
man.
Yeah. When they told me that, I was like, yeah, go Ali. So shout outs to Ali for, having faith in the super villains. But like Ganson told me flat out what the Lugia and the delinquent were for. And he's like, dude, like Groudon's a scary matchup. Because like Toad doesn't really do anything, so why not just blow up their stadiums? That sounds fair. And I didn't face one Groudon, and going into the day two, I was like, man, this Lugia card is useless. But like it got me my winning in for top 8,
Yeah.
so I couldn't knock it. So like maybe if there's like a huge dramatic shift where like everyone plays dark, maybe Gansman's like, hey, take out the Lugia for the Dedenne, like for his other top 4 list. And that's probably it. Like the deck seems to run fine with 3 Juniper slash Sycamore effects.
Yeah. All right. Would you want to give any more shots to anybody?
Yeah, I'll shout out a couple of my friends. My dude, Anthony Padilla. He's always like pushing me to play something real, not a goofy deck. I was gonna play Shift Tree, not the banned one. Go in there like, oh yeah, you can't play that one. I'm like, says who?
I need a rule book.
Judge. I sound ignorant, and then bleh, whatever. I still get to flip for this giant fan. Shout outs to my dude Panna. He was always coming up like, yo, how's your rounds going? Shout outs to my dude Gary. Really cool dude. He just started this season. He's doing. He tests with us, and he's really good. Like he knows what he's doing. And I made him play Trevenant. I was like, hey, you want to get some free games? Shout outs to my dude Puma, who hasn't played in a bit, but he's still powerful. Shady Cat, you already know what time it is. Ryan Sinat, really good friend of mine. We always call him the Panini Presser. Man, there's a lot of people I need to shout out, but like, my friend Andy for driving me there. Yo, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be there. Friend Adam for making the car ride powerful. Just a whole bunch of people, and biggest shout out to my boss. My boss Memo. If he didn't give me the days off on such a short notice, I don't think any of this would have been possible. And he's a really cool dude. Just letting me have some leeway on some Pokemon events.
Yeah, it's cool.
But yeah, that's most of the people. And then the rest, they know who they are. They always support me, and I'm thankful for them. I probably wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for them. Because, they have to, have the like that situation where I'm like, hey, I think this deck is cool, and they have to deal with it at like 3 in the morning. I'm like,
Jeez.
yo, you up? Yeah, you are. Want to hear this funky deck idea?
They're like, no, not really.
Not really. BRB in a group chat. I'm like, okay. PMs him. What up? But yeah. Oh, and shout outs to you, man. You know, if I'm here, let's get
Yeah,
it.
man, yeah. So,
Great channel. You guys know what to do. Subscribe to my man Squeaky right here. You know, bringing you the latest content in Pokemon world. If
nah,
you don't
man.
know, now you know.
Yeah. Nah, man. Thank you for doing the interview. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you learned something new about the Seismitoad Crobat deck. I mean, I love it. Like before this video, I was telling them about like how I won 2 cities with it. It's really amazing. Stupid camera keeps freezing too, so that's always great.
Shout outs to the camera.
Yeah, shout out to the cameraman. Like I don't know what the heck's going on. It never does this, but I guess tonight it's you know it's taking a break or something.
It's acknowledging the villains.
But yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty, bye.
Peace.
Alright, guys, I just want to give a quick shout out to our 3 sponsors, 60 Cards, Yeti Gaming, and the Pokemon Company International. Links to everything will be down below in the description. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Alrighty.